I feel like Mike Jordan, give me the rock and I'm scoring. Hey, came from the bottom, that's foreign. I swear that I'm up for the sun in the morning. Yeah, they know that we ain't the same. 402, we rap the gang. I told them this ain't a game.
Welcome back, everybody. Another beautiful Monday here in Chicago. Wrapping up a tough Sunday for Bears football. But always a pleasure to be joined in by Eric. And I believe we'll have Jose and John and potentially Rick on by the end of tonight's live stream and broadcast. But as I always like to kind of check in with everybody, Eric, as he's dressed up, got to tell the listeners and the viewers who we dressed up as tonight.
Dress is the occasion for sure. I am the death of the bear season. That's how this is my ensemble. You know, all in black. You know, painted, all that stuff. Yeah, that's me. I'm that guy right now.
I gotta respect it, as he said, the death of the Bears schedule, the big news of the day. Roquan Smith, the middle linebacker, traded to the Baltimore Ravens for a second round, a fifth round, and then I believe a linebacker. Do you remember the name of the guy? I can't remember.
AJ Haynes or something like that? Something like that sounds about right.
Yeah, so obviously seeing the Chicago faithfuls loved Roquan Smith heading out at the door, as we saw, Robert Quinn be traded last week. It's Roquan this week, and the Bears defense looks worse and worse, and that's fresh off of giving up 49 points to Dallas. So I don't know. I think we'll lead off with the Roquan news because it's the biggest news of the day, and then kind of jump in from there. What are your thoughts on the big Roquan trade today?
Ooh. I mean, I'm not a fan of it. I didn't like it. I'm not gonna lie. I'm one of those guys, and I get everybody's argument, right? The people that I talked to today, or some of the people that I was conversating with. It's the one thing in the last couple of weeks that I was talking about, especially on our podcast, JC Sports Podcast, and maybe a little bit on here too as well, was the fact that you need pillars. You need pillars on this team, and I get it. New regime, they want to bring in their own players. I get the whole nine. I get the whole spiel. Like I get it all, But the simple fact is, this team lacks talent on both sides of the ball. The Robert Quinn situation is a whole entire different situation than the Roquan Smith one, simply because Robert Quinn is already in his 30s. He's at the tail end of his career. You're sending them to compete in a Super Bowl contending team, potential Super Bowl contending team. But the Roquan Smith situation, we get it. It started off. It was a tumultuous start. He wanted his money. He didn't get his money. He went to camp. He held in. He was still around the team. He didn't join. He started to play again. He came back to play. He had some great games. He had some not so good games. And then they traded him away, but this is different because it's a dude who's entering his prime at 25. He's already been with the Bears for the past 5 years. You could say whatever you want to say about it. You lack talent, and then you let the biggest talent on your other side of the ball, not on the defense side of the ball, like you just let him you just trade him away simply because of rebuilding a team that needs the talent, that needs the team, that needs all this, that needs all that. But it's kind of like you need to replace a all-pro linebacker with either you hit a home run on free agency, or your first 4 draft picks, your number 1, your 2 number 2s, your number 3. Like, you need to hit a home run with those in order to fill in what Roquan Smith could have done in one player. And that's what kind of bothers me a little bit, is the fact that you're giving up a person who's been there, done that, and who you can help build a little bit, or you can help build around or give talent to elevate this defensive side, and you just end up trading him away for a sec, which is, I mean, it's a good haul back. You know, you get a second and a fourth round pick this year, but
Fifth.
at the end of the day, it's kind of like, did you really need to? You know what I mean? Like, was it really necessary? That's all I mean, that's just me. Like, it bothered me a little bit. I ain't gonna lie. This is why I never take naps, and I'll never take a nap again, because I literally took a fat ass nap, and I woke up. I didn't even read the text messages. I didn't even read like my phone. I got up, I got ready, I left to my mom's, and then it was on my way to my mom's where I tuned into one of those sports radio stations here, and they said that Roquan Smith went to the Ravens. I'm like, what in the actual what? So. Yeah. Disappointed. I'm very disappointed.
I understand you. I sympathize with you. I think John will as well, aka Batman, live from Gotham City. We welcome in Batman to the show. Thank you for joining us, John. We the obvious news that we're talking about, the big trade that occurred today. What are your big thoughts on what's happened with Roquan going to Baltimore?
First of all, I want to say on vengeance. I got Robin running the streets right now, so I could jump on his live.
Unreal.
I'll give you that one. It's about time you do something good. That's a good one right there. Nice one, Johnny boy. Johnny Parlay or Vengeance. Whatever.
Johnny Parlay was back this weekend, baby. Cash. Johnny Cash this weekend, baby. First of all, happy Halloween, fellas.
Happy Halloween.
I see my boy started early on the Dia de los Muertos. Miguelito in the cut.
I know this is death of the Bears season right here.
Absolutely. Absolutely. But you know what? I gotta be the only one not sad, because I'm embracing the rebuild. Listen, as someone who specializes in crime, it would be a crime for the Bears to have let Roquan stay and let him walk in free agency. We at least get 2 picks in next year's draft. We now have what? 2 second rounders, 2 fourth rounders, and 2 fifth rounders? Plus we still got our first? Come on now. Come on. Listen, bro. Listen, when I got the news, I literally had just pushed some guy off a building, and I was on my way down so I could tell him to talk, whether he was alive or not. I was gonna get some information out of him, and then I got the alert on my Batman watch. You know, that's exclusive Bat watch. Shout out to Alfred, but I mean, I'm not mad about this. Like, at least we get something back. Like, you know, I said last week, you know, okay, we trade Quinn, and the money that we save on Quinn we can give to Roquan, right? But this just shows, man, Poles is that guy. He's coming in just like fucking Commissioner Gordon, like running like, this is my city. We're gonna run it how I want it. And he's showing that I'm telling you, Montgomery's next. You seen, you know, I mean, the fumble probably hurt Montgomery last game, but Herbert was the RB1 last week. Fields was RB2. Fields has been RB2, RB1 every week the last 3 weeks. You know? And then, you know, I know we're going to talk about it later, how Fields' performance was, but once again, look at all that Fields did and still threw for under 200 yards.
You're spot on. We will get right into the breakdown of yesterday's game. To quickly recap what Roquan has done this season for the Bears: 2.5 sacks, 52 solo tackles, and 2 interceptions for this Bears defense. 5 years, like Eric said, 5 years that were great as he came in his rookie year. I mean, that defense in the year after was pretty damn special. Personally, loved the guy. Kind of hated to see how it ended.
Mm-hmm.
But you understand, like John did say, Poles is making his mark known that he's going to have a ton of cap space to be able to play with and a ton of draft picks to play with. I mean, I think they've now have 8 draft picks secured, maybe 9 for this upcoming draft. one in the first round, and I believe multiple in the second and third. So these are the things you want to see polls in terms of embracing the rebuild, like John said as well.
Embrace
the rebuild is upon us.
We are here.
And as we are here, let's add Jose to the stream. Jose, welcome in. We're just wrapping up on the Roquan news. If you want to give your quick 2 cents on what you think transpired, but what's the breakdown from you?
Oh man, shocking, because Roquan was one of those players where it was like you're iffy with, right? I'm sorry, I was supposed to wear my Darth Vader mask. I messed that up, didn't I? Damn.
Plus that, and you missed the best intro,
get...
out of all the podcasts with Johnny Parlay over here, or I'm sorry, with Vengeance.
Matter of fact, I'm gonna sign off and tell myself a Vengeance.
No, it's okay. He doesn't deserve it, bro. He came on late. He doesn't deserve the entrance one more time.
First off,
you had one job.
Jose,
one
I
job,
didn't get
homie.
the memo either. I didn't get the memo.
One job.
The thing is, I knew what the memo was because it was my sister, aka Eric's girlfriend, who
Eric's BM.
who gave us the idea, right? But
Hey, put some respect on her name. Don't call
put
her
some
BM.
respect
Laura.
on her name, boy.
it's Laura, my sister Laura. But
It's Laura. You gonna
Thank
call her
you.
Laura? Say
Thank
it right.
you. You show Americanized ass. How you don't
First
have
off.
a Mexican ass
Okay.
name, Jose Contreras?
Going back,
Laura Contreras. Like what
The
the
Browns-
fuck?
hey, the
Laura
Browns,
Contreras, pendejo.
the Browns
Damn.
just scored, and that's fine because I need the Browns to win. So that means Johnny, run me my money for the run your pool. Your boy staying in first place if the Browns win.
Bro, I already
Run
told
me
you.
my money, Tony.
I already
Run
told
me
you.
my money,
I already
Tony. That
told
should be
you.
my name.
I told you if you haven't paid, you ain't getting shit.
Well, that's too bad.
That's
Yeah,
what's up. Hey,
but
how
about this?
Double the pot next
How
week.
about
Double
this?
the pot next week.
Keep
it.
my winning. Keep
Double the
my.
pot.
No, wait, hold on. Keep my part for next week and buy yourself something nice. Okay. All right. Anyways,
Bro, I win enough parlays and work enough to buy myself something. Nice.
relax, bro.
There
Okay.
you go. There.
You're not that guy.
All right, let's roll
Reel
back.
her in. Back to
Roquan. Fucking Vengeance.
Sorry, I'm a little part. I'll go after I get my
Listen, bro.
synopsis right. I'll go get my mask. Okay.
You talking to Bruce Wayne here? Come on now.
Right. Exactly. Okay. It was kind of shocking because he was one of those players where you could make a decision whether it's A, trade, or B, you could build that defense around him, right? I agree with Eric that he does enough where you want to keep him, but at the same time, his value right now is as high as it's been because of what he's been able to do up until this year. And then after last week's game, you're like, okay, he has a lot, his value is high, his stock is high right now. This week's game, he had a rough game. But that's the Cowboys. The Cowboys running attack is just as good as anybody's in this league. And defensively, we know what the Cowboys are in the Bears. And it wasn't just Roquan Smith who was struggling. That entire Bears defense was struggling. So I wouldn't put too much blame on Roquan in this past game. But I'll tell you what. I like it. Why? Because now we have 9 draft picks going into next year. 1 first round, 2 second round. I think it was like what is it? 2 3? Is it 2 third rounds or is it 1 third?
First round, 2 seconds, a third, 2 fourths, 2 fifths, no 6th, and 1 7th.
Again,
right.
If you were on time, you would have heard this already.
Exactly.
Right. Okay. Got it.
Relax.
Got it. I'm just giving my synopsis here. Okay. And I like that. I like it. Now Ryan Poles has to put his money where his mouth is, show us why he got the position that he has, and draft some good players, whether it's offense or defense. I prefer offense, but I wouldn't be surprised if he does get, or I wouldn't be shocked or mad if he gets some defensive players, because after trading away Roquan and Robert Quinn, we got weaker defensively, boys. Let's be honest. We're gonna be giving up a lot of points the rest of the season.
That's what my sign says right here. I don't know if you guys can read it, but my sign right here says
I'll be right back.
the suckage on defense.
You just got here.
My poster for today. You can't see it, can you?
Listen, I can't even counter his point because he left. But the thing is I don't mind the Bears giving up a lot of points because we're gonna lose regardless.
I mean, and that's the thing,
we're gonna
right?
lose regardless the rest of the year. So who gives a fuck?
It's just but the thing is with Roquan there, like you kind of have a shot to stop or slow down the medium tier offense. Look, we all said it here last week, right? The Cowboys are probably going to be. I mean, if you're gonna dress up, at least go through the whole ensemble, bro. Like wear a black something, a black. Anyways, look with Roquan there, the defense is a lot more better, just a tad bit better, and against like the medium tier teams there, or the like right there, like barely cracking top 10, but like in the middle, like 10 to 20, like you have a shot in beating them, and we have plenty of those this week coming up, or this season coming up. The Packers, the Jets, the Lions, the Vikings are probably right there, tier in between, where you can have a shot in winning.
You said L.
Right, but at the same, but with the offense that's been playing, at least what we've seen and which what we wanted, which is consistency from the offensive side, and we've seen it for back-to-back weeks. Can we get it for a third straight week next week? It's a prime recipe to at least to compete somewhere somehow. Now it's just everything is just thrown. Like, that's my costume. I am like the death of the Bears season, and it's one of those situations. So like, okay, what Jose said, and I agree wholeheartedly 100%. The pressure for next year is on Ryan Poles. The pressure for next year, if he spends his draft capital on offense or defense or both, or he spends his money on offense and or defense.
But can we just say this is really exciting? Like, I don't remember the last NFL team to have this much cap space and this many drafts going into the next year. Like,
that's
this
right.
is. I mean, this is like, because you see it. I mean, you don't see it often in the NFL, but you see it in baseball. Like, you see owners, like the Mets just got a new owner and they open the checkbook. Like, we got the opportunity to do that. Now, I mean, mind you, we don't have a lot of elite free agents coming out this class,
No.
But again, in other sports, you've seen it, like the Bears, the Bulls have done it when they got a couple years ago. They got a new owner. They went and signed DeRozan, Caruso. They got Pat Williams in the draft. You've seen the Sox, lock up their guys. You've seen the Cubs do it. They locked up their young core when they got Aroldis Chapman, spent some money on, you can John Lackey, John Lester, Hayward. It goes on. So it's exciting for the Bears to finally have this chance to do that. For the longest we've been told, like, oh, we're not rebuilding, we're retooling, knowing damn well we don't compete with the top teams. We don't even compete with the top 10 teams in the NFL in general. But for the NFC, we definitely are top 5. For like 2 years, you could say our defense was elite, and we competed in the top 5. Top 3, arguably, if you want to go there, with the healthy Khalil Mack when he first came over. But this is like the first time, like, okay, we're in a full rebuild. Next year, yes, we're probably still not going to make the playoffs, but we're going to be way better than this year. Fields is getting better every single game this year, getting that experience, so we can invest in the O-line next year, sign the right guys.
We're only going to be better if we find the right guys, though.
That's right. And right now, looking at the free agent class that I'm seeing right now, right?
Well, Eric, before you go into that, I want to touch back on Roquan real quick, because he did have his dispute with the Bears coming into training camp over the summer. Do you guys think there's a chance he only agreed to come back because he sat down with Poles and Poles agreed he would trade him before the trade deadline happened?
I think that is a theory. As you saw the emotion of Roquan last week when he saw Quinn getting traded, and kind of just seeing how he's overall came into this year, you can tell he loves this city. He loved playing as a Bear. He's loved being a Bear. I think he really I love the mug. I think he really did want to be a Bear for at least the foreseeable future, if not his entirety of his career. But unfortunately, it's a business, and it's a what can you do for me now business, and
absolutely always is in every sport.
And as what we've seen is you need to capitalize on the fact that he is 25 years old, and you've got a second and a fifth rounder plus a linebacker for him. You need to capitalize on that value. They are, and hopefully we'll see that kind of propel them into the future with, like we're saying, potentially some offensive weapons, maybe another wide receiver too, maybe some O linemen, absolutely, and then we'll shore up the defense around that. But let's get into the game, the breakdown. The Dallas Cowboys coming in 5-2 versus this Bears team. Cowboys without Ezekiel Elliott. Didn't matter because it was the Tony Pollard show. Not gonna brag. I have him in both leagues. One league had him benched. The other had him starting. So it's kind of a win-loss situation for me. But Tony Pollard was able to rip off of believe 3 touchdowns in route for a 49-29 Dallas win. Starting off the first quarter scoring 14 points unanswered for Dallas before Chicago would kind of wake up in that second quarter. But I believe Dallas would take a 28-7 lead before the Bears were really kind of able
was
to
ugly.
turn it around.
That was uglier than the final score, that 28-7 lead.
It was
bad.
quite the punch in the gut. And you just weren't seeing pressure. I think Dak was sacked one time throughout the game, and then you just saw him ripping up Kendall Vildor. I mean, every single target, they were changing up which receiver was in his coverage, and they were just targeting the hell out of him, and it was successful. I mean, CeeDee Lamb was able to rip off an early touchdown. Pollard had a running touchdown, and then Dak Prescott also with his 7-yard running touchdown as well. So I don't know. You didn't see the fire from the Bears defense, at least what we've seen throughout the earlier weeks. And I don't know. What do you guys think? What specifically in that first half? I mean, it was nice to see them rally in the second quarter, but you just kind of knew huge gut punch with the D coming out really flat.
Oh yeah, they came out super flat, and credit to the Cowboys because they were just exposing the Bears defense left and right, man. Whether it was the run, pass, they made Dak Prescott look like Peyton Manning out there, man. I don't know what was going on. Tony Pollard looked like Emmitt Smith, Walter Payton, all the above. But I'll tell you what. Going back to what you said originally earlier about Roquan, when you could tell he was emotional when Robert Quinn left. I think he knew the writing was on the wall for him as well. You know what I mean? You don't just give up a playmaker like that on defense without knowing you're going to rebuild the entire defense. And I think Roquan knew the writing on the wall. But going back to your question with how the Cowboys just was it every possession, like their first three possessions were touchdowns, was it not?
I think so.
Crazy.
Yeah, something like that. I want to say even their first 5. I think their first 5 was all touchdowns.
But credit to the Bears, right? Credit to the Bears because they were trying to make a comeback. At one point, it was like 32, 33 to 20 something, and they're fighting, and that's getting that. All that credit goes to Justin Fields, guys. If there was any questions that we had, and I was one of the guys who had a lot of questions about Justin Fields, but if there was any questions at all about Justin Fields, I feel like they're getting answered in a positive way for him right now.
Fields is the only positive we got going right now,
and that's great. And that's great though. If you have a rebuilding team, then the quarterback should be the most positive about it.
It's great. It's great considering we
most important position.
We were questioning whether they're going to draft another quarterback.
Yep,
but
that's what I'm saying.
So Jose, are you done? So you get my take on this game.
Bro, you spoke more than anybody so far. What the hell's wrong with you?
Eric talks the most. What you talking about, bro?
I even said one damn word ever since Jose hopped on.
Fucking Miguelito over here been running the show. He talks the most.
Go ahead.
He be like, "Señoras y señores." Anyways, man.
Oh, so you're the soft Batman. Got it.
I told you I'm vengeance.
Come on, man. Come on. Get back to the show. Come on.
Reel her in, boys. Reel her in.
Bro, I'll pull up and I'll beat your ass just like Edward Cullen did at the train station to all those guys.
Look, since he's not going to talk about it, let me
anyways, okay.
Right,
I told you guys this in the chat. Why, you guys got curfew or something? Anyways, I told you this in the chat. The Bears made the Cowgirls look like a Super Bowl contender. And that shit. Dak Prescott is not an elite quarterback. They didn't even have their running back one, and they had their backup go off on them. This is that. No receiver for the Cowboys had over 100 yards, but Dak threw to like 20 different receivers. This is terrible. I mean, I get it. We're in a rebuild, but for us to put up that many points and still give up double our points, that's sad. That is sad as fuck. Like, we finally have our quarterback doing good, but respectfully, even if we had Robert Quinn still, we still wouldn't have won that game. We still wouldn't won. Like, this is how bad the Bears are, that the Cowboys are 20-piecing us. Because, don't get me wrong, the Cowboys, sure, they'll make the wild card, but they're not going to Super Bowl. We see this every year with the Cowboys. Their roster looks good, but when it comes down to it, they don't compete with the Bills, the Chiefs. They ain't competing with the Eagles this year. Hell, they ain't competing with the fucking Vikings. They're not, but it's just like this is what we get. How is it we go against the Commanders, only put up 7 points, and then here we go up against the Cowboys and we give up damn near 50 points. This is sad, man.
Like you just said, we know that the Cowboys, and we said it last week, the Cowboys are going to be the most athletic team that the Bears we're going to face throughout the whole entire year. And
Not
we said
even.
it last week.
No. I didn't agree with that shit. Y'all agree.
I mean,
bro.
you right, and
Bro,
it was
bro,
proven.
my-
And it was proven. It
Miami-
was proven on
Miami-
Sunday that the Cowboys were the most athletic team on the field last week.
With the healthy
All I
Zeke,
asked
maybe?
last week was the Bears. All I asked last week was the Bears to compete against the Cowboys and to make it somewhat interesting. And they did. They made it as close as 4 points, 5 points at once upon or during sometime during the game.
It was the 6 points.
Okay,
but you guys even
regardless
said
of the
the Bears
fact
would
we
cover the
knew
10.
this coming in last week that the Cowboys were going to be the toughest opponents the Bears are going to face.
Bro, Miami,
player-wise,
Miami's
athletic-wise,
better.
it doesn't matter what the Dolphins and the Bills and what blah blah. But that doesn't matter at this point right now. It's like, who do you face right now? And the Cowboys did look good. Don't get me wrong. Dak Prescott looked great. Cool. He was looking good last week when his first game last week in the second half, and he started looking great. We all knew this, John. It was,
but
whether
we shouldn't have gave
or
up
not the
50
Bears
points to
could have
them.
stopped most of the plays. Sure, defensive errors here and there. We could talk about all the
Defensive
defensive errors
errors,
there. We could talk
defensive
about the
errors,
fumble from David Montgomery and the Justin Fields
questionable
didn't bring him
play
down, touch him
calling.
right there. We understand all of that situation, but we all knew that. Yes, being 40, almost close 50 pieces, embarrassing.
50 points.
At the same time, it's just like you looked at them like, well, look, the Cowboys did something that it was hard to compete. The Bears scored 29 points. Normally in a regular NFL game, 29 points will get you the W anywhere else in the game.
Except they scored 20 more.
This past yesterday was different, and you could just tell that the talent was way superior on the offensive line, on the defensive line, at the quarterback play, in the secondary, on the wide receivers, and the running backs throughout, and even special teams. Hell, even the kicker and the punter had a kick that was like 80 some odd yards. Everywhere in that team lineup, the coaching, all of that, the Bears were outclassed by a team that what the Bears are hopefully going to be looking like in the next couple of years with everything that they have amounted with these trades.
But Eric, the Cowboys are barely a top 10 team.
And yet they're in the NFC. They're second in their division, and yet they're going to be in the playoffs. It's a playoff team. That's
a playoff team that loses. We argue this every time. Do you want to be a playoff team that loses and never makes the Super Bowl, or would you rather miss the playoffs? We argue this every single week.
This is the situation we're looking at.
The Cowboys are there.
Okay, and you just said you want us to be like the Cowboys.
Quickly. We're looking at this. Yes, you can look at this as Eric, as he said, coming into the year was 10-7 or whatever he said. Now looking at it, now knowing what the situation was, we knew we were coming to this game as a rebuild situation. You got to take the positives out of it. The fact is, Bears offense was able to get 29 points versus a very, very good Dallas D. That's a huge positive. I think the defense for Dallas has only allowed like one or more touchdown like once in the season until obviously this Sunday. And the Bears were able to put up some points. Are they ready to go and compete in a shootout? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. That's not going to be the case that we're looking at. But the fact is, you can look at the positives in this game. And as I believe someone hinted at earlier, yes, he didn't throw over 200 yards. That's not going to be the case with this team. I mean, you're looking at it and look at the receivers that are around him and how it's pretty tough for anyone besides Mooney to expect this guy to be able to throw for over 200 yards a game because Pettis isn't going to be catching the ball for him. And, Equiminius St. Brown is going to give it all, but it's just, unfortunately, it's not the talent that you need to surround this quarterback with to be successful. So the fact is they still scored 29 points versus a very good Dallas D. So I'm going to take that as a positive. And I'm looking at this from a rebuilding standpoint. And that's why I can accept the fact that the D gave up 49 points because it's
49.
42.
It was 29 to 49.
It was
okay.
He
is right. Technically, he's right. He is right. I like you holding me to the
technically
stats.
scoreboard 49.
Yes,
But
John, we know that, but he said the defense got scored on 49 times. I'm just saying,
he's right.
just helping my
He's
brother
right. The
out.
defense, the
Jack,
defense was
Jack,
put on. No,
don't gas him up, bro.
I understand it. I understand. I'm just trying to, it. But my point is, like I said, it's a rebuilding situation. I didn't expect much from this team. It's a hard stretch of football games coming up. I mean, yeah, we've talked about they go to Miami next. They have Buffalo on the schedule here in the near future.
Done.
These are games that you're
60
probably
piece.
you're not expecting the Bears to be in. And the fact is, if we can see them score 29 or 29 plus points, like we saw the week before with them scoring 33 or whatever it was, these are the positives we're going to have to accept at this point in the year, because we are a rebuilding football team that is not looking to make the playoffs, even though they're second in the division. It's just kind of the reality.
No, definitely. If last week was the first building block or the first block to trample down to start this whole entire rebuild, definitely for sure the Roquan Smith trade today is the second and the biggest stone to fall off on over. And it's just going to be a very long season now. Then these next 8 games, 9 games, whatever games are left, it's gonna be pretty long. It's gonna be hard for the Bears to be competitive on the defensive side of the ball. Maybe they may have a splash play here too. I mean, you still got the Falcons in there somewhere somehow. You still got, the Jets, even though their record says they're good, they're starting to falter and being the Jets back again. And now with the trade, I think they even said it on the TV broadcast yesterday that the games that are coming up, the weakest game on the schedule is the Green Bay Packers. And, now with the trade of Roquan Smith, it doesn't look like it's the easiest schedule. I wouldn't be surprised if, from here on out, the Bears outside of the Atlanta Falcons game are probably going to be the underdog in every single game outside of that one.
Maybe Detroit. They do have 2 versus Detroit still.
Maybe Detroit, one of the Detroit games.
I don't know, man.
Detroit
might put up more
I
points than us.
think they split. I think they split it with Detroit, to be completely honest.
I could see that. Yeah. I could definitely see that. We usually do regardless. But I can see that.
Eric, you're spot on. And we haven't even talked about it. They're going to play, the 7-0 Eagles. So it's
even then, yeah.
We're done.
After the Bills, I think they play the Eagles too, or something like that. They're like consecutive. It's like the Bills, Eagles, Packers in that order, or Packers, Bills, Eagles, or whatever the case may be. They play those 3 teams back to back to back, and I think they're all home games, if I'm not mistaken, too.
Oof. Bills at home, Eagles at home, Falcons away, Packers at home. So yeah, majority of the schedule, and Dolphins at home.
We're about to lose. Yeah, Miami's at home this weekend. That's
Miami's at home this weekend.
We're gonna get 50 piece again. Listen,
minus 4.5 opening line.
Look, we just watched the game last night between the Bills and Packers together. We were at Jose's, and we were talking about it like, bro, the spread opened at -9 for the Bills and went to -10.5. If that is what the spread is for Bills versus Aaron Rodgers, what the fuck is the spread going to be for Bills versus Packers?
You mean Bears?
I'm sorry. Yeah, Bills versus Bears. Sorry. You're easily looking at I could see it this weekend. Fucking -14. We're gonna start looking at the spread's gonna look like college numbers, whoever faces the Bears.
Yeah, defense for sure is gonna take a hit. But
my thing is, look, we got 50 piece, but we got 50 points put on us. 42, you want get technical, Eric, with Roquan on this team. I think that's where it was the last shot for the Bears. Like, you know what? Yeah, we can afford to trade you. We just gave up 40 plus points with you on the team.
I think one bad game doesn't give him the clarity of what he has done within the last 7 games of the season too, as well, where he has shown out like that. Like if the trade value was played out like that in every single sports, then it's just
what
is that, 5.5 or
-5?
-5?
Hell, bro, I put a stack on that. -5.
I think that says more. That says more about the Dolphins than it does the Bears. I think defensively they've been struggling a little bit, and Justin Fields has been getting better. So as long as we see progression with Justin in that offense, that's really all that matters at this point.
Yeah, at this point, from here on out, from the rest of the season, it's what can Justin Fields do? How can he improve? Can he fix this? Can he fix that? With what we've all been saying, or with you, well, I mean, technically, we all been saying with lesser talent, you
Yeah.
know. So if he's doing this with lesser talent, just imagine when we get him more talent and how explosive this guy can be. It's going to be tough, guys. It's going to be tough for sure. And now we just want to know what the
At
Bears
least
are
I
going to
didn't.
do
At least
from
we
here
didn't
on
say
out.
Bears gonna win 11 games.
Yeah, well,
Quickly.
that's after you trade Roquan. That's after you trade,
Nah.
Robert Quinn, all that stuff. Like it's just
even with those two guys, ain't no 11 wins here, brother.
just
That shit dead.
it is. That's why death of the Bears football season right now.
Just want to
So-
quickly shout out. Thank you, Mario, for tuning in. Mario, Sam, El Carbs, Paulina. We appreciate the comments. We appreciate you guys interacting with us. The live stream URL is at the bottom. So if any of you guys feel like you want to hop in and talk some Bears football, we will be talking some more Bears breakdown. Definitely go check out the socials at Star 6 Media. We're on Instagram, Twitter, Twitch, YouTube. We're on it all. Check out our podcasts on Spotify, Apple Music, anywhere you catch your podcast. Check out all the boys' socials. We have that linked to the pages. We appreciate you guys always tuning in. But let's get back to Bears Breakdown.
Yep.
Absolutely. No, man. Shout out to Duff, and Duff made some really good facts. Earlier he mentioned, I know we showed it, but we didn't talk about it. But again, and we've said this, every week, every year, damn near, we do need to invest in the O-line. And, with all these moves, like Eric to touch upon it, Jack to touch upon it, like holes, all eyes are on him next draft. Next draft, next free agency, all eyes are on him. You have to address the O-line. You had to fix the defense because you just gave up two of their biggest stars. I mean, I'm sure at this point, Eddie's the only one that's probably safe. Defense. I mean,
For now. I mean, remember this is his last year on his contract, so they're gonna have to renegotiate with that. And I mean, I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised if they do trade him for more picks. I mean, again, you have someone whose value is high, right? Last year,
we trade him? If you were Post, would you trade him right now?
I mean, yeah, I think I would. Because remember, look at the last year, the 2 years. He hasn't been the same since the year. What was it, 2018?
He's hot right now though. He's hot.
Exactly. So if next season let's say next season he's not hot, then what? Then you basically gave him more money for what? His value is high, just as much as Roquan was. Trade him. I mean, he's getting older in age. You could find someone else. Imagine what you can get back. If you're in a full rebuild, then I mean, why keep Eddie Jackson?
What about you, Jack? What you say?
I kind of like the thought of getting rid of him, and especially because I think he's second in the league with interceptions right now, 2 years removed from not having an interception in the last 2 years. He's been more healthy than we've seen in the last few years, and a little bit more excitement, I guess, to his game. I think, as Jose kind of touched on, and as we've been seeing in the chats, embrace the rebuild and capitalize on the value. And that being said, I think, unfortunately, that would be the end of Eddie Jackson's time in Chicago, and I could embrace that and get behind that train.
Hey, we can at least get a second for him if we got a second for Roquan.
I think it would be something like maybe a second and a seventh if we wanted to look at 2 picks. If not, maybe
a fifth.
Maybe
a second and a fifth?
I don't know. I don't think you could see. I don't know if he's got the same value as someone like Roquan. It depends on what team needs,
what you think,
needs the safety help.
I think the most, if it's multiple picks, it'll probably be like a second and a third. With probably like a back end, draft pick if you want a multiple one. Eddie Jackson could probably fit perfectly with a first round pick if it's like a Kansas City or a Buffalo Bills or a, what's another team that's competing? Maybe even another, Philadelphia Eagles. But I don't think that's going to happen. But teams like that have a value that's going to have a very, very high first round pick. And if you trade Eddie Jackson for 1 pick and that 1 pick is a first round, I think that's a win too.
Absolutely.
If you want multiple picks, then I think Eddie's value would probably be like same thing. a high second. So I mean, if I mean, a second round pick, depending where you're training to, what team, if it's they're competing or not. To even a probably like I said, a 6. They don't have a 6th-round pick. They don't. Ryan Pace gave that up for the trade for Khalil Mack last year or 2 years ago. Whenever I mean, not Khalil Mack, for I forgot who he gave that pick up to, but it was Ryan Pace that gave up that pick. Oh, he gave up that pick to get the punter from last year to the Dolphins. That's the pick that he gave up to. So regardless of the fact, if at this point I'm like, you know what, hell, whatever the case may be, trade whoever you want to trade. At this point, it's a done deal. It's over. So,
But Eric, did you reach that point after the Roquan trade or after the Quinn trade?
no, definitely after today. No, definitely after today.
So
after today's trade is just it was a done deal.
So after today, you're embracing the rebuild now.
Yeah, might as well. Yeah, okay. There's nothing else to do. I mean, cheer for Justin Fields. Hopefully he doesn't get hurt. Hopefully he's healthy throughout the year. And in whatever games they're competitive in and have the win, take the win.
Eric,
I would just it is what it is.
Eric, I have a really important question for you, specifically just you. Jose and Jack, y'all can answer too, but you might not be able to answer. So from the time the World Cup starts and finishes, who's gonna have more wins? The Bears or Team Mexico?
The Bears.
Wow. Damn.
That just says a lot about Mexico.
That
just says a lot about Mexico.
Does.
Hey, we can say this. This is the worst Mexico team ever, but
It really is.
This is the worst Bears
I
team
could
ever.
wholeheartedly say that. I want to say that the Bears will probably get 2 wins in November.
My parlay, baby. I need Higgins to score. Let's go.
So it's just yeah, no, definitely. I look if that's another podcast for another day. I don't want to get into it right now. Let's just stick to what we're talking about.
John,
and the Bears.
What's up, bro?
Browns +3.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You finally won $20.
Give me that 20.
What up, Uncle Day Day? Yeah, I know so much wins, man. You know what? It is what it is.
He said 11.
It's called being hopeful, man. It's called being hopeful.
11.
I kind of saw it. It just never panned out that way. It is what it is.
All right. Well, here's I'm look. I think it's that much better though, Eric. I think that it's gonna be a lot more enjoyable for us to watch the Bears, believe it or not, because we're not expecting nothing. All we can do is just watch Fields progress. That's all we want to see. We just not from now on. When I watch this team, and when Fields does something nice, whether it's on his feet or when he throws a pass, I'm gonna be like, you know what? I love it. There's no expectation. We know what this team is, and that's what we're just gonna have that mentality going forward. It's better that way because they give us false hope when they win, and when they beat good teams, they give us false hope, like the 49ers, but then they lose to teams like they lose to teams like
the Commanders.
Washington. The Commanders, yeah, like Washington. You're like, what the hell's going on here? So it's better this way. Trust me. Protect your heart.
No, it definitely is, but
always.
I would say this though, and I really do feel like the N'Keal Harry trade might help Justin Fields in the aspect on having another big body down in the red zone, because you could kind of see that's who they were kind of looking for. N'Keal Harry and obviously the touchdowns to Cole Kmet. I really do feel like N'Keal will probably have a good run in this offense and probably help out Justin Fields in the passing game just a little bit.
This man, Duffman, said trade Kmet. Did y'all see that yet?
No, I think Kmet gets released first off.
Ain't no one gonna want him.
No one's gonna want to trade for Cole Kmet.
No, nobody's gonna trade. But I think Kmet. I mean, Kmet has done a lot more than what you guys. You guys are just looking in the passing game and touchdown games and stuff like that.
Tight end.
He does a lot in the offensive line and helping a lot in the running game too as well. That holding call on him, that was probably like the softest holding call that you'll probably ever see.
Right, but you can get a. But I'm sorry to cut you off here, but you can get a tight end that can do both. Let's be honest.
Yeah, you definitely can if you can find one. I mean, those are hard to find.
Bro, at this point, I would take Jimmy Graham back.
Bro, for real, honestly.
All right, now you guys are just
at least he was a red zone target.
He was.
I don't know.
Literally.
It's 14 receptions, 159 yards for a TD for Kmet, averaging about 11.4 per reception. I don't know. It's a guy who's in his third year. It hasn't been what we've expected. He had 2 years under Jimmy Graham, and it's someone who hasn't produced. So truthfully, I don't think there's any value on the market for someone like Cole Kmet.
Nope.
You can hope that his season turns around, like Jose said. We can now watch for a Cole Kmet breakout game and be excited
Yeah,
about that. We can
exactly.
now watch for, an ESQ, ES.
Jose, are you saying we
EQST.
should bet the over
EQSD.
receiving yards for Komet every week?
No, I'm not saying that. I'm definitely not saying that. I would bet the over for Justin Fields rushing yards though. But
Absolutely. My boy got wheels.
yeah.
Yep.
Especially if they
But-
trade Montgomery. I'm telling you, I think Montgomery's gone. I know we got Mario Duffman in the comments saying that Montgomery should stay, and I responded to him. But the Bears never pay a running back. The Bears never pay a running back. Herbert's going off. We see this trend. Matt Forte replaced his guy. We seen Jordan Howard replace his guy, then got replaced. It's coming up with Montgomery. They're not gonna re-sign him. Herbert's gonna replace him. We're gonna draft another running back. I mean, the Bears are good at drafting running backs. Don't get me wrong. So why keep paying it? Especially when you see around the league, all these guys that get max contracts, they get traded or they're never the same. Look at Zeke. McCaffrey's probably the only one, but what they do, they traded him. Todd Gurley just retired. Le'Veon Bell, he's fucking boxing on the weekends.
He's knocking people out though.
He
Yeah,
is not
but he ain't an elite running back. We just see the running backs that get paid, they're never the same in the NFL, unfortunately.
Let's look at the quick positives. Justin Fields, 17 for 23, 151 yards, 2 touchdowns through the air. He was sacked 4 times on 25 pressures. QBR rating of 72.5 with a rushing yard total of 8 carries for 60 yards with 1 touchdown on the with his legs, and then Khalil Herbert leading the rushing attempts with 16 and 99 yards for a touchdown, 36 being the longest, with Dave Montgomery having 15 carries, 53 yards for a 3.5 average, 10 being his longest. To your point, I mean, I think we could feel confident with Khalil Herbert if he needed to pick up the main duties. You did see them draft who's seeing a lot of special team time, Tristan Ebner. So maybe he could be someone who you could solidify as a backup if you were to commit to one of those 2 guys. I don't know. I think overall, the receiving department, 5 yards, 70, 5 receptions, 70 yards for Darnell Mooney, 2 receptions, 24 yards for N'Keal Harry with a touchdown. And then Cole Kmet did have a touchdown in this game, 2 catches for 11 yards. And then other few guys kind of sprinkled in there with some average performances. And yes, like we said, it's not 200 yards from Justin, but it was a much more positive performance. You saw him kind of understanding and reading coverages a little bit better, using his feet. He is going to be a dangerous runner when he's able to get out of the pocket and scramble for extra yards on 3rd down, that he was able to kind of read see what is downfield, wasn't able to find anyone open, was able to pick up the first down with his legs, and he was able to do that a few times. Another positive note with this team, I think it's the 3rd time since the 60s that they have rushed for over 200 yards in a ball game. So that is something you can look off as a positive as we talk about. It's a rebuild, and we're just looking for positives. I don't know. Yes, 49-29 performance, but 29 points, second most this team has scored this year, minus last week. You would hope versus Miami, a little bit worse of a front 7 that you could capitalize and score a few more points. Obviously, we're not expecting much on the defensive front, but quickly kind of recap the offense positives and the field's positives before we kind of move on to our predictions for this upcoming week.
So, I think we can only go up from here, right? From Justin Fields. I mean, this is probably the most efficient game that he ever threw in his 2-year career with the Chicago Bears. I think he threw his QBR was like 120 or something like that, somewhere that high. Look, I think we just need to see him break out. I guess 200 yards next, throwing in the air.
I want 225.
No. Look, when he threw 140, we asked for 160. He threw 160. Then he's
Bro,
throwing for one. We
225 isn't a lot when you think about it.
I mean,
Come
with this
on.
team, it's sort of kind of a lot. Let him crack 200 first before we even go above 200.
I think
These are just the baby steps that the Bears need to take, and or not the Bears, but Justin Fields needs to take him to the next level and being not only just a running quarterback but a passing quarterback too as well. Look, we said it before, we're saying it again, we're going to say it one more time right here. He can't be protected, that's one, but he still finds ways. You see him scramble, like the David Montgomery play, for example, the one that he fumbled the ball. Look what he did. He ran around, he made a play, he found the play. He could do those type of plays. There's certain plays that the offensive line breaks down. 4 sacks sounds like a lot, but with this Bears offensive line, that's actually pretty low. It's one of those, like, you just got to take baby steps at a time. Look, we finally got a game where he threw more touchdowns than interceptions. He had no interceptions this game.
Yep.
So it's like we need to take like the next step. Okay, maybe next game he'll probably throw for 200 and some odd yards. Cool. But he'll probably have 2 touchdowns and maybe an interception since he's going to be throwing that much, or whatever the case may be. But right now, you don't fix what's broken. If he doesn't throw for 200 yards, but the offense, the running game is over to another 200 yards, you do it. And if he throws for 200 yards, guess what, guys? It's a win-win situation. And at this point, this is all what we're looking for.
Can we just point out Jack with the locks over there real quick? Man,
the hair's long right now.
Hell yeah, long. I love it.
That's the hockey look.
You got exactly. You got to keep it long at this point. We're in winter, bro. You cut that, you're gonna feel that breeze on the back of your head.
We'll see. We'll see. We might have to change it up as long as the girlfriend doesn't make me cut it. But I can't be too confident in that one. But we'll see.
a little trim. Then that's it.
Exactly.
Jose, you want to go? Positives?
Positive. No, I mean, Justin Fields is the clear cut
QB1, right? Baby.
QB1. I'm telling you guys, we were worried. I'll speak for myself. I was worried because because of how he started off, how this offense started off. I at least wanted to see. This is what I wanted to see. We can lose. Our team can still look bad, but at least Justin Fields is showing what he is meant to be in this offense, what we all want him to be, what we've seen in Ohio State. This is exactly what I was looking for. Now, credit to the coaching staff, right? Luke Getsy, Eberflus, whoever's idea was to start running these running plays for him. You're treating him like if he's Lamar Jackson. This is his bread and butter. This is what he should be doing. Look how well it's working for the Ravens. Their wide receivers aren't world beaters. Their running backs are suspect. Because we don't. It's literally Lamar Jackson offense. If we could have the same with the Bears, but then at least sprinkle in some really good wide receivers, and we know running backs are a dime a dozen here. So it's like, you know what I mean? Just do it. I like it. I like to see it. That's obviously the clearest cut, clearest day. I mean, number one positive, and I want that to continue going forward. It's better than anything else that we have going on right now.
No, man, Jose, I agree with you. I think we all agree. Fields performing better, is the best positive we can look forward to every week, and it shows. Eric, I want over 200 yards. You want, a little around ballpark 200. But I mean, if he's running for 100, I got no problem. Jose touched on it. Like we've been screaming this for years. We know our O-line is shit. I don't know if the Bears coach and like owners realize their offensive shit, but it's like cater to the quarterback, please. We have athletic quarterbacks. Mitch could run. Mitch he could throw better on the run. If here I would say Fields is better than Mitch. Mitch is my boy, whatever. Fields is my boy too, but it's like you're finally catering to him. And the way the league is nowadays, you compare him to Lamar Jackson, and it's true. Like you look at other quarterbacks. That elite teams such as the Bills, the Chiefs, they have quarterbacks that can throw and run. At one point, Russell Wilson, when he went back-to-back Super Bowls, guess what? He was rushing for well over 50 yards, throwing for over 200 yards. Like, you need that. The only thing I would say that kind of worries me, but this is like, we obviously have to address it, but when you look at, the past Super Bowls, it's always proven defense wins championships. Still, one step at a time. I'm not gonna be negative Nancy no more. I have enough negativity to worry about in Gotham City. So Fields is doing his thing. We're catering to him. Let's keep it going. Whether our defense is getting 50 piece or not, Fields is improving. He's gaining confidence with a shitty ass offensive line, shitty ass receiving corps, a non-existent tight end, possibly another running back getting traded. He's doing his thing out there.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong. Let's look to the week upon us. A nice little travel from Miami sees the Dolphins coming to Soldier Field for a 12 p.m. kickoff Central Time on CBS. As we talked about it, ESPN's got Miami as a 4.5-point favorite. I have them on my sportsbook for 5. I have already taken and locked in that bet.
I'm sorry, you took Miami -5?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Of course, I'm about to do it right now.
Yeah, exactly. Glad we're getting on that train early. Take advantage of the ridiculously low line at this point right now. But let's move into our predictions for this Sunday game. Miami Bears, quick, easy. I'm gonna say.
You're gonna smoke us.
I'm going to say it's at least 35-14 is what I'm going to say. I'm going to say 2 touchdowns, 1 through the air and 1 on the ground.
That's tough. So I now this was me before taking my nap, right? So
oh my god.
So prior to taking my nap, I looked at the weather. It's gonna rain. It's gonna be in the 60s. That's typically not usual for Miami Dolphins football weather, right? Miami's used to having the nice shade in their stadium and having the cool, all this stuff. Now they're just outdoors where everything is just going to be poured on them and it's going to be nasty. This was me prior taking before the Roquan Smith trade, where I picked the Bears to win this game. This weekend, right? That was just my prediction before the Roquan Smith trade. Now, I still wholesome believe that the Miami Dolphins are not going to be that offensive juggernaut with this weather, because it's saying it's 70% chance of rain, guys. You give me that weather, you give me that rain with this weather here in Chicago, a little bit windy. Miami's not used to it. Miami's not going to be the same team that we see balling out week after week in Miami and all the other dome stadiums that they played in. All that being said, it's probably going to be like a, I don't know, 27-24 game. I think the Miami Dolphins barely squeak by this week.
You're going to make me check the weather before giving my answer.
All right.
First of all, go ahead. No, go ahead.
The only reason why I wanted to go after Eric, because I kind of believe it or not, guys, I almost agree with Eric a little bit.
Give me hope.
Here's the thing. I could see the Bears winning this game only because they react to what is going on around them. Like this could be one of those upset. Every week there's an upset. We all know it. There's always going to be an upset. I feel like this could.
We know.
I feel like this could be that game. I was just looking at the stats right now. Right, these are the same stats I look at whenever I pick games, and I have it hasn't failed me yet.
And right now, Tony Parlay, Eric.
Look,
Eric,
all it's telling me right now, right? What it's telling me right now is that this game could be a lot closer than we think. Even I think Vegas knows, because the Bears are plus 180, like around there. Which isn't huge odds for a team that's supposed to be rebuilding. Right. You know what I mean? So this game might be a lot closer than we think. I think Vegas knows something we don't. I'm almost inclined to saying Bears win. Believe it or not.
I feel it too. Like it's just one of those games where it's just kind of like nothing will go right for the Miami Dolphins in this game. I believe it. Yep. Depending if it all depends on weather. Now, look, we're talking on Monday, and we know weather changes throughout the end of the week. If somehow, some way, it gets a little bit better, then my mood and my mind will probably lean more to the Dolphins. But if we're sticking to the weather right now, and it's taking a while, even with this offensive juggernaut of the Miami Dolphins, ever since Tua came back, it looks like they're slowly kind of building in. But again, remind you, they play in dome games most of the time, And then when they go out and about in the streets, going away and weather inclement, they don't look nothing like the offensive juggernaut that's in Miami. Plus, their stadium, I think it's domed. So if there is any type of weather, they're closed. No, I think it rains. I think it's open. Regardless of the fact, it's Miami. It's Miami. I still believe that this is the game where the Bears can surprise people. I deep down in my heart, I want to say Bears. With the same score, I still want to say Bears, 27-24. It's going to be that type of game.
What the fuck?
Eric,
John, go into him. John, go. John, go into him.
Bro, first of all, you need to update your weather app or your iPhone because it's not raining Sunday. It's a 40% chance of rain on Saturday.
I still think the Bears win.
Secondly, you're talking about they're not good in the streets. Bro, they're from Miami. This whole team is from the streets. They live in the streets, boy. They're going to pull up to our streets and 50-piece us. Literally, bro.
So.
Not 50-piece. Okay, I'm exaggerating, but we're at least gonna cover the -4.5 that I just booked on DraftKings. They're covering the -5 for sure. No, bro. Listen, you want to keep losing money? That's cool. Because by the way, our best bets lost because of you. We haven't pointed that out, but we lost because of you.
Oh yeah, Dortmund scored in like the 90th minute.
I don't
care.
I did not expect
I don't care.
that.
A loss is a loss. All right. We go. All right. But listen, bro, we're not gonna give hope. Okay, I'm gonna be Hawkeye right now with his Ronin suit. Don't give me hope. All right. Don't fuck with me right now. The Bears just trade away everybody. On Sunday, we probably won't have Roquan no more. I'm sorry. We probably won't have David Montgomery. We might not even have Eddie Jackson no more. Don't give me hope that they're going to fucking upset Miami. Miami's been on a tear. Fucking Tua is just, he throws it and Tariq catches it wherever it is. Tariq might reach 2,000 yards this fucking season. He damn near might have 200 against the Bears if they trade Eddie. This is... Bro, you've been sleeping on Miami since the beginning of the season. They've been doing their thing. Tua got a concussion, and that's when they lost their 3 games. But Miami is going to shit on us on Sunday.
Here's the weather. Sunday, 62. Wind southwest.
I don't care where the wind is, bro.
With a 60% chance of rain.
I don't care, bro. You gotta update your app.
This is my boy Tom Skillen from WG. Shout out to Tom Skillen. That's my boy.
Bro, you know damn well the news lies.
He never lies. That's the one guy that I trust with my weather.
Check your iPhone app. No rain. Either way.
I actually do got rain on here.
Rain or not,
on Sunday. 50% chance rain at 61.
First of all, you're probably in Indiana because you live in Indiana.
Boys, it's not going to matter. It's
not going to matter. Thank you, Jack.
If it was 35 or below, then I'd say, all right, that's Chicago weather.
If it was fucking
60
snowing,
degrees and rain, come on. They're football players. They're paid to play this shit. That's not going to affect Miami. It might slow down their throwing. But the fact is, they still had 2 receivers that were over 150 yards last week. And
Tua is not Trey Lance.
We saw Dallas with Michael Gallup and CD Lamb rip our secondary. It's going to be the same old story. I hate that you're getting our listeners riled up and fired up for a Bears win. I think it's idiotic. I love you too. But make up. There is no chance this Bears team beats Miami. I don't know. You can pick my punishment next week if I'm wrong. But I'm telling you right now, there's no chance the Bears win this game.
I don't think weather has anything to do with it, but I can see an upset. Believe it or not.
No.
It's just
Okay,
I just see it.
I'll tell you what. If the Bears win, I'll take you guys out Sunday night to eat.
Well, I still need my dinner from Jose anyway. So regardless
Come on,
of the
bro.
fact,
you're never gonna get that.
So I know
if they win, I'll take you guys to eat. Cool. We'll go pick up Jack.
I'm down for that.
We'll go pick up Jack. Dinner's on me if the Bears pull off an upset against Miami.
Dinner's on both of y'all.
Come on, Eric. Let's go eat tomorrow.
Yeah, we'll split it. We'll split it, John. We'll split it.
And we'll FaceTime Rick the whole time.
Eric,
so he could be there with us.
We'll eat in front of Rick.
Eric, I'll take you out tomorrow. Eric, come on.
There you go. Me and Jack will split dinner for Sunday night if the Bears pull off the upset.
What am I doing? Tomorrow's gym day, bro.
Confident.
Unless if you take me to like Panera or something.
Agreed.
Okay, we'll have a Panera day. Once John sends me the money, we Gucci.
Deontay, if the Bears score more than 14, you're welcome at this dinner. And they win the game.
Absolutely.
But they need more than 14 and they need a win. Just don't see that happening.
Agreed.
Moving on. But first, go check out all of our podcasts at Star 6 Media on Instagram, Twitch, YouTube, Facebook, Spotify, Apple Music, all the platforms you get your media content, because we're there. We're giving you soccer. We're giving you baseball. We're giving you all Chicago, all national. We're giving you it all. UFC. We got stuff in the books coming up. So definitely go check out our at Star 6 Media on all social media platforms. We appreciate the follow, the subscriptions, the likes. We appreciate it all. We will continue to give you more content throughout this Bears season, as well as we shift over to the hardwood, to the C-Red section. The 3 and 4 Bulls have been mediocre. And that's what I'll put it at lightest. I mean 3 and 4 in a season where I think they've already faced. Have they faced Philadelphia twice already?
They only faced them once.
No, twice. They beat them
Twice?
once, lost once. They upset them. Well, I didn't get upset.
The Bulls?
Yeah.
The Bulls only faced them once, and that was the
I think
Saturday
it is only
game.
once. It is only once. It is only once. But
Come on.
with wins versus Milwaukee, Toronto. Oh no, that's preseason. With wins versus versus the Heat, the Celtics, and the Pacers. That is what makes up the the Bulls' 3 wins, with losses going against the Philadelphia 76ers, San Antonio Spurs, the Cleveland Cavaliers, and the Washington Wizards. Most recently, I don't believe Zach LaVine played in the latest loss to the 76ers. Bears' leading scorer in that game was DeMar DeRozan, who had 24 points on 12 shots, 1 for 2 from the 3-point line, with 3 rebounds, 4 assists. Second in scoring was Nikola Vucevic with 36 minutes, going 8 for 14, 5 for 7 from out downtown, actually. So the big man was hitting his shots from 3 with 19 rebounds and 3 assists. So the double-double for Vucevic. And then Zach LaVine did play in this game. My apologies. Going 2 for 9 from the 3-point line, 8 for 19 in total for 20 points with 2 rebounds and 3 assists. Patty Williams did see his minutes increase, going to 32. And then Caruso getting the starting role with, I now remember, Ayo DeSumo not playing in this one with, I think, chest issues. So obviously Caruso kind of took the lead for the point guard role for this team. The bench leading scorer off the bench was Javonte Green with 9 points with 19 minutes played. And then Kobe White also played 22 minutes off the bench, scoring 7 points. That was the Bulls' 109 points versus Philadelphia's 114. What have you guys seen early on so far in this new Bulls campaign?
Oh man, you know what? I'll tell you what. It's not all grim, Jack. Yes, they have looked mediocre, but I would say this: the games against Miami and Philadelphia, to me, were encouraging, because all last year we were getting blown out by these teams. We were not competitive. They were manhandling us. We weren't seeing as much defensively from this team. But this year you see a difference. We beat Miami first game, right? Yes, we got murdered by the Cavaliers. But when we faced Philadelphia, that game was competitive all the way up until the end. And we didn't have Ayo DeSumo, who took a leap. He's our starting point guard. Didn't play. But we were able to win that game. And that's encouraging for me, because again, last year we were getting whooped. It wasn't we had no shot against the Philadelphia 76ers. Joel Embiid was able to do whatever he wanted. The reason why the 76ers won that game is because the 76ers have what we don't, which is a true superstar. Joel Embiid hit that 3 to put them up, and they never looked back since. And that was literally late in the fourth quarter. So credit to them. That's what we need still. In my book, I think we still need that legit superstar that we could ride their back. We don't have that. But I do see positive in this team. We just gotta continue to play. We're early in the season. 3 and 4 is not a bad record. Obviously, we would love to be 7-0, but we're not. And NBA, anything can happen. You're gonna lose against teams like the Spurs, and you're gonna beat teams like Miami Heat. It's gonna happen. So, but positives for sure. DeMar Rose is still doing his thing. Zach LaVine's looking good. And as soon as Ayusumu comes back, man, I see nothing but good stuff going to happen.
See, you may see encouraging things. I actually see it the quite opposite. I actually see it kind of negative. When you get wins like against Miami on the road, when you get wins against the Celtics, who are one of the top seeds in the East or one of the best teams in the East, per paper, you get that hope. You get that hope, and you get that like, okay, these Bulls are for sure. They're gonna go down. They're gonna compete. They're gonna do this. But then you get losses by like against Washington when you lose by 2 points, games that you're supposed to win. San Antonio, games that you're supposed to win, and then you get your doors blown out by the Cleveland Cavaliers, who we all said, at least I did, said that this team is more improved than the Chicago Bulls. And then yes, you do compete against the 76ers, something that we didn't do last year. That you're right about that. But at the end of the day, you still lose against the 76ers, where you're still kind of behind that 8-ball to try to improve from last year. Like it's fine and dandy. You can say that, but this is where the Bulls kind of need to take the next step. And if it's the next step of just being competitive in these games and still not getting the W, then there really is no type of improvement whatsoever. It's just kind of like that, the little small hope, I guess, that we all have from the Bears, from the Chicago Bulls. Like those are the type, like you don't lose to San Antonio. Like you don't. It doesn't matter on any given court night, blah blah blah. This you don't. Even without Zach LaVine, you don't lose to the San Antonio Spurs. That's the last thing you do. You don't lose to the Washington Wizards. Like you just don't. Given that fact. You compete against Boston, which looks great, and we dominated Boston and stuff like that, and you're off the momentum, and then you dominate the Indiana Pacers like you're supposed to. But then all of that gets washed away with the performances that you have against San Antonio and the Philadelphia 76ers. That's the thing. It's more worrisome than it is positive. Yes, you can say this and that, but it's just it's kind of like the same old story with the Chicago Bulls. Still can't get over the hump and trying to consistently compete with the best teams and actually finding a way to get a W. They get Brooklyn next tomorrow. Is it the same story from for Saturday night? Well, it's yet to be found out.
I don't know about the L. That Brooklyn has some issues of their own. Like always.
For sure. Yeah, they really have. I mean, you're right about that. But it's kind of like, I'm not saying an L, but is it the same outcome? Like they compete with those, like they did with the 76ers, and still come up short at the end.
The Nets are 2-5, bro.
Bro, Brooklyn's still minus 300 to win tomorrow.
Okay, I'll take that bet then. I'm going Bulls money line.
I like to see you do it. Screenshot it.
I am.
Put 50 on it.
I bet. Say less. Send me the money. Send me the money. I got you right now.
Yeah, you send me the money. Okay, Eric, to your point, you can lose to the Spurs. Like Jose said, it's the NBA. Fucking the Mavericks just lost to Orlando Magic in overtime. It happens. It's the NBA. There's upsets every day, just like NFL. There's upsets. There's times like teams just don't show up. You don't got it going. Just like a pitcher don't always have his stuff going for him. It's the NBA, man. Anything can happen. These are professional teams. You can upset somebody. Just like they say on Sunday for football, you can win any given Sunday. It happens in NBA. We beat Boston and we lose to the Spurs. That's NBA. You know what I'm saying? It's just how it is. But I do agree with you a little bit. I kind of agree with everybody. Like the Bulls have shown improvement. There's some of these games we didn't have a chance last year, but I do agree with Eric. Like we still don't have enough to get over the hump. And to me personally, I'm happy Ayo stepped up, but I still don't think we have a true point guard. The Bulls, another year where we don't have another true point guard. Maybe if we had at least an all-star point guard to go with our already all-stars on this team, then we could be in dark horse in the East. But I had hopes of playoffs last year. I do think this team is good enough to make the playoffs this year, but to make a run, it's still the same story for the Bulls. It's still the same thing. And then now we have Zach locked up. Vooch is playing better. We still want Pat Williams to, continue to get better. But it's like, to me, it's like, all respect to Vooch, but with Pat's youth, he should be the starter now. But he's not, because he's not good enough yet. I mean, we got when Lonzo comes back, if he comes back, because I have doubt on that, me personally, and I told you guys he wouldn't be ready. You know, he got hurt again. Jack, this was before you joined us, but I was, I think a lot. Lonzo's Bulls career is looking like a bust so far. That's just me. We paid him; it's looking like a bust. But again, I was nowhere near an all-star. You look around all the point guards in the league. Again, the Bulls don't have a superstar. Yes, the Rosen's an all-star, Mr. Fourth Quarter. Levine, he's been going off when he's healthy, but now we gotta load manage his knee. Like, what the fuck is that, dude?
That's the one thing that pisses me off so much is the moment that we give this guy the money. Now we cater to his
200 mil.
It's just so stupid. Like I know we see
200
it.
mil.
I know we see it everywhere in the NBA with these superstar players, but you're not gonna give a guy load management who barely cracks
Absolutely
top
not.
30.
Absolutely not. I literally I seen the TikTok today. RP to the GOAT, Kobe Bryant, but it was literally saying like, you don't take days off. You go hard. Practice should be harder than the games. That's literally what the TikTok was. Kobe saying practice should be harder than the games. Phil Jackson never gave them days off to rest, because then you show up, and that's goes to show, like, and it's not just the NBA. All these sports are soft now. But, the Bulls, especially, like, we're talking about the Bulls, so it's like, here we are. Like you said, Eric, we paid this guy, and now we cater to his knee. Oh, my knee is sore, whatever's going on. You got to give him a shot. You got to ice it, give him a day off. But that's bullshit, bro. 200 mil. Then it should be in your contract, because the way it's looking, like, he's injury prone.
Well, it's, as you bring up the Levine point, I think, as we've seen in kind of one real standout performance versus Indianapolis, where he scored 28 and the team was able to win by, almost 20 points in that one. You saw the team is successful when Levine is really scoring at a high caliber. On the season, he's averaging about 22 and a half, lowest being 19 points in the win versus the Celtics, and then obviously 20 versus Philadelphia on Saturday night, and then 23 versus Cleveland. Is it unreasonable to ask that you expect 25 plus a night with 5 plus assists and some rebounds? I mean, especially given the fact that we just gave him the money that we're talking about. I think in reality, you can expect DeRozan's going to do what DeRozan's going to do. He's going to give you all he can for the minutes he's going to play, and he's going to be as consistent as he can with the mid range. And if he splashes it up from three on the off occasion, it's going to happen. But this team needs Zach LaVine to be the elite scorer that he showed to earn the money that he supposedly has been awarded. And I do feel for this team to be successful, yes, the Lonzo bullshit is what it is at this point. I mean,
bullshit.
You just can't really expect or rely on the player, as unfortunate as it is. And I do agree with you. Ayo Dosunmu is a sophomore in this league. He's not an all-star. Could he be an all-star at some point? Yeah, sure. Players develop, but that's just not where this team is at. I think you are seeing a really inspired Nikola Vucevic, at least on the boards, as he's been rebounding his ass off, something we didn't see in the playoffs. So you do look at the positives there. But I think it all comes down to if LaVine on that night is an elite scorer and if he's an elite player. And I think we've seen like above average to very decent basketball from him so far, but we need him to be the elite scorer that this team paid him to be.
Definitely. And you need, man, look, if I see 60 games from Zach LaVine this season, I'm going to be pissed, because like you don't pay a guy 200 mils just to play, 60 games. Like, again, you see DeMar busting his ass off every single night at his age, and he's still going, and yet he's still going at 100 while you're just catering to the guy because he's young and you gave him the money, blah, blah. I get it's your investment. That's 100% true, but you're right. Like, we want this guy to take the next step, and he doesn't have the respectability, the star power to get days off. I get it, ACL injury, but this was like 4 or 5 years ago already down, back then. This is not recent. If it was recent, by all means, I understand that point. But now we're talking about 4 or 5 years removed from this ACL injury, and now you're getting low management. Like this was just a waste of money to me on Zach LaVine. And it just pisses me off that we're seeing this. I'm seeing this already, and I look at it, and it's just like from the first night, it's frustrating. It's frustrating. And you're right. I like what Deontay says right here. Where Zach needs to step up is when teams blitz DeMar to get the ball off his hands, and then fourth, Zach has to be in attack mode and make plays. And it's 100% true. But you're not gonna get that if he's on load management.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's just the one dumbest thing I've ever witnessed in a guy who hasn't even.
I think look
top 20.
So I agree with you guys all 100%. However, if there is something bothering him, that's something I need to take care of now, so that way he's at least available for the postseason. That's because look, beginning of the season right now, we all know is important, but it means a lot more when you're at the end going into the postseason, at least trying to make the postseason. Again, I agree with you. I agree with everything you're saying, but the fact of the matter is that there is something wrong going on with his knee. So the best thing they can do is try to protect it as much as they can for when it really matters. It sucks. Yes, we wish it wasn't happening, but it's happening. So let him do whatever he needs to do to take care of that knee, and hopefully it doesn't last the entire season. But if it does, as long as it's okay and 100% healthy come playoffs, that's really all that matters.
But protecting it is not playing him one game and then not playing him in another. If he really has a knee problem, you sit him and say, hey, he has a knee problem. He's going to be out 2-3 weeks. Are we going to question it? Are we going to say, oh, we gave him this guy this $200 million to an injury prone player? Hell yeah, 100%. And you know what would help him out if that does happen? By him shutting us up and playing night in and night out, being the top scorer for the Chicago Bulls and letting us know he deserved this money instead of I'm going to play one game, look good this one game, but I'm going to be out these next 2 games because my knee hurts. So if your knee hurts, sit down, be gone, rest for a couple weeks, get better, and then shut us up by your playing constantly game after game, back-to-back games, knowing that you're 100% and then you're being the best player that we're supposed to pay you for. Not like this. This is not the way. This is definitely not the way. And this is why I was telling you guys from the very beginning, the Chicago Bulls are going to be in basketball hell as long as Zach LaVine's on the team.
Well, get used to it. He's not going to be. I don't see any other team trading for that contract anytime soon.
No, but that's just what the Bulls situation played them. So I mean, that's the same thing like we've talked about in the weeks past. If they hadn't signed LaVine, they would have been in the same basketball hell, if not worse.
They would have been worse
because they would have let that superstar walk, and then you get the reputation that you're not going to pay.
You're not going to pay players that are loyal to you.
Yep.
Because Zach's been a part of the rebuild. Zach deserved to get re-signed. It's just it worked in his favor what the market was.
It's unfortunate that you've got ownership like Jerry Reinsdorf, because you just don't know what you're going to be able to predict from.
Fuck him. In terms he got to pay Abreu.
Or let him walk to the north side, baby.
Hell no. Stay away from Jose Abreu as much as you can.
Hell no. Keep bringing
him. Yeah. I don't want him on the north side. You guys
don't want. We're
not going there. We're not going there. We're not going there. I'm ending that talk right now. We're not talking Jose Abreu. We're not talking about Jose Abreu in a Cubs uniform. We'll talk about that when free agency opens on this show and 3 Up, 3 Down. But fuck, I'm not talking about that right now.
I like
this one.
Let's look at the upcoming schedule for this team this week. As we talked about, they are traveling to Brooklyn to face the Nets before coming home for a game versus Charlotte on Wednesday, before going to Boston on Friday, and then Toronto on Sunday. So that's what the Bulls schedule looks like for the next week. Kind of an interesting one. A lot of travel in the sense that you're going New York, Chicago, Boston, Toronto, but hopefully this team can prove to see some more early season success. I do think the last point I would make about what we've seen from a sluggish-ish start from this team last year, you saw them start hot, and that's kind of what propelled them to be able to withstand the injuries they were able to at the end of the year and kind of coast their way into the playoffs like they did, because they had such a hot start and cemented themselves as early as they could to the top of that Eastern Conference, versus this year where I think you've seen, and like we've said, the division, the conference, it got a lot better So if the Bulls are able to navigate the kind of the seas of this division and win the ball games that they're able to, aka the games in Charlotte, and I do believe Toronto. I do think the Celtics game is going to be a little tough, knowing the fact that the Bulls have already beaten them. This one being in Boston, it's going to be a tough one to win. But I do think you should beat up on Michael Jordan's Charlotte Hornets, hopefully, and add and hopefully cross the 500 mark. Otherwise, it might be, John, another team of Jerry's that just stays consistently at 500. Hopefully not the case. Wouldn't shock me in the slightest, though. Quickly, let's what are the final thoughts on the Bears or Bulls upcoming week and what you guys expect before we move on to a little hockey talk and 4 stars before we wrap this week's episode up.
Yeah, the Bulls have no excuse not to win and be 4-0 for this upcoming week and beating up on bad teams right now at the moment. Brooklyn is bad right now at the moment. We get the superstar depth is there, but there is as dysfunctional as they can come. Charlotte Hornets, we know where they're at, where they stand. I mean, if it's true beating the Boston Celtics here in Chicago and you really want to compete, you should go to Boston and win. It's going to be a tough one. Same thing going to Toronto is going to be tough. But if the Bulls are really serious and you want me to take them serious, you go 4-0 this week.
High expectations.
That's real high expectations. I see an L against Brooklyn. To be honest, I see them going 2-2 the next 4 games, just to be completely honest with you. We beat up on the bad teams and lose against the good teams. That's how I see us.
3-1. 3-1, plain and simple. We go 3-1. If we're gonna lose, I think Boston gets their leg back, but we beat every other team.
Okay. Well, we'll have to see. It should be another exciting week on the hardwood for this Bulls team. Hopefully, they're able to get Ayo Dosunmu back in this lineup. A little bit more consistency from Zach LaVine, and obviously DeMar showing out like he does. Deontay, quickly on the last question, who could the Bulls possibly bring in to help out? DeMar probably going to LA next year. Vooch will resign, but what else is out there? Interesting enough, do you think Vooch will resign? I think the fact is they were looking to move his contract coming into this season, so I don't see that happening. And yes, DeMar is from LA. He has said he'd love to play in his hometown. I don't know if that will happen necessarily. If the Bulls team is able to advance another round further in this playoff, hopefully he will stay in Chicago. And he's showing that age is just a number, and he's just able to continue it on as he gets a little bit older. In terms of bringing someone in to help this Bulls team out, I don't know. I think you're still relying on the hopeful development of Patty Williams, the hopeful development of Ayo.
That ain't gonna happen.
And the hopeful return of Lonzo at some point. So I do think it is a little too early to necessarily look and see from the outside picture of what we could bring in to help this team immediately. Hopefully as we get a little bit closer to the 10-game mark and a little bit closer towards the first month of the season, then maybe we can start evaluating and thinking about what could potentially be a fit for this team to look to add in the trade market. But John, boys, 500 basketball.
No, to real quick answer, Deontay, I definitely agree with you, Jack. I think DeMar stays. I mean, he's kind of like, I think he's upped his stock being with the Bulls. So why not stay here, man? I mean, the Lakers ain't looking much better. I don't think he really fit with the Clippers, to be real. I personally wouldn't want to re-sign Vooch. He's getting up there in age. This is a little more me being hopeful, riding on Pat Williams, doing better. What'd you say, Eric? Go ahead. That's my
too.
That's my
what'd you say about Pat Williams? I'm like, me too.
Yeah, me too. Exactly. But yeah, I don't see. I wouldn't want to re-sign. Keep DeMar, let Vooch go. That's how I feel.
Yeah, I think that's a fair point. And to quickly answer your next question, Deontay, no, I don't think they're in the realm of Boston, Milwaukee. Maybe Boston, that might be the closest case, but definitely not Milwaukee.
Jose's a Bucks fan. What you think, Jose?
Wait, what? Wait.
I'm a Bulls fan, but
He's a Bucks fan. No,
I love Giannis. No, they're just saying my fandom for Giannis. They like to over exaggerate a little bit. But
Giannis,
Put it this way:
he can't say his
when-
name right. He can't be a fan if he can't say his name right.
I say it the
when
way
the
I want
Bull-
to say. How about that?
when the Bulls face the Bucks in the playoffs, he's riding Bucks.
No, I'm with the Bulls all the way. Let's be honest.
Go
Let's
ahead,
be
answer
honest,
Deontay's
Giannis.
questions. Go ahead, Giannis fanboy. Answer Deontay's question.
No, they're not. It's not going to put them in the realm of anything. And Milwaukee's Milwaukee, and Boston is Boston. The Bulls need a significant superstar to even consider winning the East or the West. So we don't have that. And I don't see that anytime soon, to be honest with you guys.
Nope.
I
Move
agree
on.
with you. I agree with you. That wraps up the C-Reg segment for this week's episode. We appreciate you guys tuning in. Follow us all at the Star 6 Media page on Instagram, Facebook, Twitch, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, all the social media platforms. We're on there. And definitely go follow the boys' podcast, JCA, EFP, EAFP, Sports Drip, JCA, obviously Big League Chicago, 3 Up, 3 Down. And as we continue on with this episode, let's move in and on to the ice with Blackhawks talk. 4-3-2 on the year, but quickly with his costume on, let's bring in our boy. He's here, Rick from work. How we doing, Rick?
What's up, boys?
What's up, my boy? Hell yeah!
What are we on right now? I'm only here for a couple minutes.
First of all, I'm gonna let you slide on your crimes tonight. All right, but I'm on that ass tomorrow.
What are you talking about?
You get vengeance tomorrow.
Sorry, I got my eye tape shut since I got Bell's palsy.
It be like that, bro. I know the struggle. That's why we wear our mask. You made it in time. We're talking ice. We're talking hockey. You know, I see the banner right behind you. How you feeling about other side? How you feeling about the Blackhawks, man?
Dude, I'm honestly like very surprised, and this is like the positivity in me. I'm very surprised about the Hawks. They have put up some good fight in these games.
Hell yeah.
Jack's looking at me like, who is this fucking weirdo? I don't know who this Rick is. But yeah, man, I'm liking all the fight from the Hawks. They lost a crazy one the other day against Buffalo. I think they scored like 3 unanswered to go or an OT or something like that. So that sucked. But
yeah, they gave up the lead in the third. They were up 3-1.
Hey man, they're doing good things right now though. I'm telling you, Jack, they're gonna surprise us. They're looking good.
They are surprising us, and Rick, you actually are right. This team is something you're actually seeing under the new regime of Luke Richardson is that this team is playing for 3 periods, and they're playing with heart, and they're playing in all these games, win or loss. Unfortunately, in the week recap, the fortunate part of it, they did beat a very talented Florida Panthers team 4-2 on home ice on Tuesday.
Yes,
before Edmonton and the best player in the world and Connor McDavid would show out and show up at the United Center scoring a hat trick versus the Hawks in a high-scoring 6-5 affair. Hawks unfortunately gave up another 3 goals in the third period to drop that one to Edmonton. Like I said, Connor McDavid, 4 points, 3 goals, 1 assist. The dude showed why he was
best player in the world.
The best player in the world. Exactly. And then as they went to Patrick Kane's hometown, Buffalo, a team that's actually been rebuilding throughout the few years, a team I'm actually a little bit higher on in terms of what you've seen from them in the years past. They were resilient in their effort at home, coming back and, like you mentioned, scoring 3 unanswered in that third period before taking that one in overtime by a score of 4-3. And then, unfortunately, in the return of Marc-Andre Fleury to the United Center, Minnesota Wild were able to outduel the Blackhawks on home ice Sunday night, 4-3 in shootout. Andres Athanasiou did put up a potential goal of the year candidate, was something we might have posted on the social medias. Definitely
that
something worth
awesome.
checking out. It was a nasty move. Just was able to walk the defenseman, walk the goalie, put it up in top cheese, and was able to score one for the Hawks. It was a pretty one. But no, Rick, you're spot on. This team's playing. They're fighting for every win and every goal scored. And you're seeing a little bit more of a resurgence here from Johnny Tays as he's been able to light the lamp several times. Kane is starting to score a little bit more, and you're seeing the new additions of Max Domi and Athanasiou and co kind of adding production for this team that you saw walk outside the door with the trade of Alex DeBrincat, but positive things on the Blackhawks side from what we were relatively thinking we'd be seeing. So you're right. It has been more positive. I can't rip him a new asshole this week, but that doesn't mean I won't next week. So
You know what? I don't
I'm-
think you
I'm-
are going to next week, man. They're hot, man.
I'm-
They're hot, Rick. I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
dude. No, you're good. You mentioned Domi, man. I liked him when he scored that overtime goal to win the game, or he scored the game winner. Athaniasu or whatever, or a tiny asshole or whatever his name is.
Asshole.
That guy's really exciting as well. And I mean, look
man.
at that. You got the Bears with Mooney having a highlight reel catch, and you got the Hawks with a highlight reel goal. Like, things are looking up in Chicago right now, man. So I'm really liking the Hawks
Okay.
where they're at.
Hey. On the ice, we looking good, all right? On the ice. Nah,
What?
don't
What?
say we're
What?
looking good. On the Bears, not even the Bulls, all right? The Hawks are probably like the most exciting Chicago team right now.
It's
know?
so weird to say, huh?
It is. We
What I
never
like to
expected
see,
that.
what I like to see is that they're playing hard for their coach. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
First year,
man.
that's what you
Absolutely.
want to see is that they're playing hard for the coach. That means he's making an impact bright and early in their young careers.
Mhm.
My question is, what do you like? Obviously, you still have to trade Taves and Kane.
No,
You know what I mean? But
no,
how does that
I
change this
disagree.
dynamic going forward? Because let's be honest. Yes, this is great, but trading those two it's only going to be better for you in the future. You're gonna get draft picks back,
No.
or capital, whatever it is, you're gonna get back from them. And let's be honest. You know what I mean? Like, it's time for these guys to go. As much as I hate to say it.
That's
So-
cap. That's cap. You don't trade
know,
a cap.
John,
It's
I've
true.
loved your opinion most of this episode. I've had your back for a lot of it, but you're fucking wrong on this one.
You're making me cry
Robbie
right now.
Hayes and
Don't
Patty
make me
Kane,
cry, Jack.
No, I'm a guy that's going to make you face the realistic opinion of it. The fact is, they're both on expiring deals.
Yep.
They're in their 16th years of playing in this league.
Yeah.
They still
Let
have
them
some
retire with
competitive-
us, man. Let them ride it out with us.
I agree with you, but as we all agreed
I love
on
it.
earlier, sports is a business, and it's a what have you done
Absolutely.
for me now market.
Yep.
And unfortunately, they need the draft capital and the prospects
so-
to rebuild
so
this
you-
franchise.
So you're saying you think both Taves and Kane can be missing pieces for other teams to win a championship
I think so.
at this stage in
Taves
their
less
career?
Taves less so, Kane absolutely.
Let's go. Okay, I'll let them go if they come back and retire with us. How about that?
Oh, I think if you want to look at a future that yes, he's been more outspoken than Kane has about leaving the city. But I think teams are going to be less interested in Taves automatically.
Because of his age.
Well, just the mileage on these guys. I mean, these
Yeah.
guys
Yeah. Oh,
from
hell yeah.
the years 2010 to 2017, in reality, they played the most hockey out of anyone in this league. They were playing, the full 16 wins that it took to win the Stanley Cup, and in a sport where the playoffs are a real thing and actually legit and actually meaningful and competitive, where you have to win 4 series, best of 7. It is the hardest trophy to win in sports. Fuck you, Eric.
That's right. That's right, Jack.
So
That's right.
It's
Absolutely.
the reality of it. So
Absolutely.
they've played a lot of hockey. Love you as well, Eric. So I don't mean to. But
No.
This talk just for preseason sports, guys. Jesus Christ. Jeez, man.
Bro,
This is
can
the
you
longest I
get
ever
Had
heard
to
about
make sure you're still
preseason
awake.
sports ever.
How to
Wait,
make sure you're
wait.
still awake.
All right. No, all right. I took him off. I mean, you cannot disrespect hockey like that.
You can't, bro. Listen.
Listen, Jesus. Preseason talk. Oh my Jesus.
Eric
Oh my
makes all
Lord.
these jokes. Eric makes all these jokes, but the Hawks have been the true dynasty in your lifetime.
He's right about that.
That's
You're
true.
wrong.
I'm a bandwagoner at heart. I mean, I guess, sure. I mean, I just
That's
been
what-
to the parades just to be just for shits and giggles, but like to actually like count them as my dynasty, okay.
It's a tougher.
You know what, Eric? I love.
I'm that
soccer.
guy. I don't care.
You're
I'll
that
do
guy.
it. I'm a bandwagoner at heart. I support the Chicago Sky. I won't go to the game.
Oh,
The
I know.
Blackhawks, I'll go to the parade, and then I'll just wait for them until the regular season
Bro.
starts when they win the Stanley Cup.
Bro, Hawks games are fun. Hawks games are amazing.
I mean, I still haven't been. I mean, I need to go
Bro,
to a game.
with your
Like,
attitude, you're not
then
gonna
I
get invited.
complete. Then I complete all the Chicago sports team outside of the Sky. Now I guess the Sky is added, but I complete every sports team in Chicago that I've been to every
Bro.
game.
Bro, have
Real,
you even been to a Wolves game? A Wolves games are fun too.
Wolves
been
games
over.
$3
That's
like Wednesday
too
night.
much of a trip.
$3
I'm
The
not gonna go.
defending
I'm
champion
definitely not
Wolves
gonna go all the
games,
way
okay?
to. I'm
Real,
definitely not
uh,
gonna go all the way to Rosemont just to
Look,
watch.
hold on.
What
Defending
about Chicago
champions
Dogs?
Wolves, okay?
Chicago Dogs are good too.
Put respect on their
real
name.
quick, boys.
Let's put some respect on the name.
Real quick, boys. I'm gonna say I just got to get out of here. I'm gonna go record only football here in a bit.
All
But
right.
I just want to say, Ryan Poles, I love you. You got rid of Roquan. Eric, I'm sorry, brother. I'm sorry, but
Another L
he
for
did
Eric.
it. He did what he needed to do. He ripped off the Band-Aid, and that's all I'll say about that. See
That
you,
your
boys.
four star? That your 4-star of the
Rick.
week?
That's one of the stars of the week right there. Ryan Poles ripping the Band-Aid, getting rid of a very good defensive player, but in the future, it's going to get us more picks, more money, a better team, a championship team, hopefully in the future. And he did what is needed to do. He doesn't give a fuck, and I love it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Perfect way to segue us into 4 stars of the week. Rick, we appreciate you joining us in. We'll
course.
talk later this week. Love you and hope all is well.
All is well. See you, boys.
See you, man.
All right, Rick.
Right on.
As he did so perfectly for us, he segued us into our final segment of tonight's episode, 4 stars of the week. The boys will go around, pick their pick of the week. That could be an athlete, that could be a fan base, that could be a figure, just kind of something comical as well, if you want, in the realm of Chicago sports. So Rick kind of led us off with the fact that he loved Ryan Poles' moves this year. Who wants to take it away with 4 stars of the week?
Fuck it, I'll go. Shit. You know what? This is a bit of fan service. I already know my guys from JC are gonna disagree, but can we give 4 stars to Jerry Weinsdorf for interviewing Ozzie Guillen?
Oh, fuck off.
This man.
My 4-star of the
Let
week
him
is
talk.
Justin Fields. For this week, I think he's been it's probably the easiest one I think out of all of us this whole entire week. Justin
That's why
Fields,
it's the easy
4-star
one.
of the
Stop being a
week.
bitch.
It really is. He's been performing well, consecutive games of playing good football. Being the quarterback, this is the best career start so far this past week. Hopefully, he keeps it consistent. Justin Fields for me.
We all could have picked Fields. That was easy, bro.
Layup.
Literally. Think outside the box.
You could have done it, but you wanted to go outside of the
No,
box, and that
yeah.
was just
because everybody's thinking Justin
that was
Fields.
just a
Come
waste.
on, man. Why?
I like the uniqueness, John. I like the uniqueness, but I don't want to
Bro.
ruin the fact that we had a great thing in 05 with Ozzie. His first round as the White or first
Absolutely.
campaign as the White Sox manager was great. We saw how when you brought in a guy who's already done it once, and yes, obviously Ozzie is not 80 years old. I don't want to ruin the legend that is Ozzie Guillen and that White Sox uniform.
but until even if we
no
don't hire
blood,
him, Eric, shut the fuck up. Until we don't hire him, there's going to be bring Ozzie, especially when has a contract with Comcast Sportsnet to rip the Sox a new one every single post game series. You got to bite the bullet and just let this man come back already. Let him shoot himself in the foot. Let him fuck up his own job at this point. What do we got to lose?
It's a Tony La Russa 2.0 younger version. If you
that's
bring
wrong.
back
That's
Ozzie
wrong.
Guillen.
That's
I don't think it's
That's
quite
wrong.
that stint,
No.
but it's the easy hire. It's really the easy hire for this team, I think.
Ozzie
want
Guillen
him to
would
go outside the
definitely.
box.
I'm trying to tell you, it's not worth it.
Okay, you know who would be worth it? Joe Madden.
No, all right, we're moving on. I love the pick this week. It was unique, John. I love it. Jose, what do you got for 4 stars of the week?
It has to be Luke Richardson. The fact that the Blackhawks have been playing, relatively well, better for him. I mean, it's just overall, it's a good look for him. That means the message he's sending in that locker room is working. It's translating to every single one of those players, young players at that. For them to be competitive in each and every game. That's all we need to see. And just continue it. Just continue going forward. There's no just like the Bears now. There's no expectations. Just go out there and progress every single night you play, and that's all I want to see from this team. That's all you can do when your team is rebuilding. That means the coach. At least for now, we have the right guy in place. So my star goes to him.
I like the pick. To finish her off, I'm gonna pick my tiny or whatever Rick called him, tiny asshole or whatever it was, Andreas Anthony for his highlight. Like I said, potential goal of the year. We'll put that highlight out on the social media so you can check out that highlight.
It was
a hell of
beautiful.
a move and it was a
Yeah.
hell of a finish. On the campaign so far, he has 5 points, 3 goals, 2 assists, but he has been a key addition to this team as he was signed on a 1-year deal, coming over as a free agent acquisition. So Andreas Athanasiou, aka to Rick, my tiny asshole, or whatever the fuck he called him,
Yes. Exactly what he said.
is my final pick for 4 stars of the week.
Between
John,
the legs.
we will have this managerial conversation here soon after this World Series. You'll have to join us on 3 Up, 3 Down when we talk
Absolutely.
all managerial hirings and firings. But for right now, emotionally and physically, I just can't deal with talking about that managerial hire, and I cannot talk ever in a positive light about that fucker, Jerry Reinsdorf. So I'm still thinking that's crazy, but it is a unique pick. It's different. That's what we like. Boys, Jose, Eric, John, I appreciate you guys joining us for another episode of Big League Chicago. Go check out all the podcasts at Star 6 Media on all the social media platforms. JCA Sports, Sports Strips, EFE.
EAFP.
EAFP.
My Tiny Asshole podcast.
Yeah, 3 Up, 3 Down, and of course Big League Chicago. And if anything I missed, go check out all the socials. Follow the boys on their Instagrams. They are very active on social medias. Interact with them on Twitter for some controversial takes. If you want to get John fired up, I have a good feeling it doesn't take much. So go interact with John on Instagram, Twitter, and then Eric. Should be another exciting week as we inch a little closer to this World Cup.
Definitely.
And then Jose, a very exciting week of action-packed fighting. So I'm excited to see what you've got for Sports Trip this week. But yeah, appreciate you guys all listening. Appreciate you guys sticking with us for the whole hour and 45. We'll talk soon. But this has been another episode of Big League Chicago. Peace.
Peace out.